Welcome to day 2 of Vintage Style Lantern Week on the Pardon My English channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at this railroad lantern from Barebones. I did purchase this with my own money and I do not have a relationship with this company. So I'll be giving my honest thoughts about this lantern, go over its features, specifications, operation, what's included with it. We'll check out the amount of light it puts out as well. I'll go over my own thoughts about it as well as a few quirks that this thing has. So if that sounds good, stick around, or I should say all aboard. Let's check out this lantern. So even though this thing looks super old, it does use modern technology. It's got a rechargeable battery and LEDs in here. So if you like the old look but don't want to worry about fuels and things of that nature, this is a cool little option that's on the market. The quality of materials is really good. Everything here is metal. This is actual glass as well, this globe. Barebones does sell replacement globes if you need to get one. And there's a couple different styles as well, different shades if you want to pick up a different globe for this. But yeah, the only plastic bit on it is the bottom cover here. Under this is the battery. I'll show you that a bit later. But yeah, it's got a good feel to it. It's 2.2 pounds. Got the carry handle. I should say this little bit on the this little part of the handle over on the side is plastic as well. But aside from this and this bottom piece, I can't really find too much else that's plastic on this thing. Here's a look at the battery status illuminators on the back and the USB-C port cover. So basically, like I said, it's a rechargeable lantern. It does come with a battery from Barebones. I'll show you that in just a moment. Real quick, this is how you operate this lantern. This little metal dial, a rheostat, I believe that's what it's called. Maybe not, but I think so. But yeah, you just twist this to ramp up the output. This lantern has a maximum, let me get the camera adjusted. It has a maximum of 200 lumens, so not a terrible amount of output. Definitely enough though to do things. Let me get my camera adjusted. Yeah. So if you're in a small enough space, it does have plenty of light, but it's not like, by modern standards, I wouldn't call this super bright. 200 lumens max. The low mode is 35 lumens, which I believe is right here, because there's no way this is 35 lumens. You can just leave these on glowing like this, and I actually really like that. I imagine the runtime would be pretty significant just leaving these glowing. So if you just want, when you're not using this practically, if you just want this to like sit on a shelf or look cool in your home or an office or anything like that, you can just do that. And I wanted to show a couple things that are included with this lantern. They've got a USB-C to USB-C cable included, as well as this adapter, USB-C to Type A. So really it's a USB-C to Type A cable or Type C to C, whichever one you need, which is nice. And the cable, I'd say, might be 2 feet, 2.5 feet, somewhere around that length. But yeah, that's included with this to help you charge it up and things like that. Speaking of charging it up, let's show you the battery. This is the bottom cover. The plastic part I was talking about would be cool if it were not plastic, but also not a deal breaker. You're not really gonna have any contact with it. And it keeps the weight down, I suppose. But yeah, it just twists off. So look at that base. And then here's the Barebones specific battery. It's two 18650s kind of stacked on top of each other. And yeah, it's got 4,400 milliamp hour capacity, nominal voltage of 3.7. So that's what this looks like. You will need to use a Barebones battery. I wish it wasn't proprietary, but you know, that's just what it is. They do sell additional batteries independently if you want to actually use this thing and not worry about running out of juice on the go. You can drop in new ones and so on. But that's a look at the battery and included cable. And yeah, as I mentioned before, as far as accessories go, they have like carrying bags and stuff. A couple different options on the Barebones website, or I imagine they're on Amazon. I haven't checked. But if you want a way to carry this around, if you'll be camping with it and so on, I have thoughts about that, by the way. We'll get into that later. But yeah, that is an option, as well as the globes I mentioned before. You can get those. This metal cage theoretically will protect the glass if it takes a tumble. I would not want to drop this though. I just don't like the bubbles in this glass. I just don't want to test that. I think it could. I don't know about the drop rating on this thing. I couldn't find really any information on it. I would just baby this if you do decide to pick it up. We're just going to get into the philosophy of use discussion a little later in the video. But you've made it far enough with table talk. Let's check out the actual output of this thing. It's not advertised, but this lantern has a really nice little glow to it when you don't really have it cranked up whatsoever. It's kind of like a really nice moonlight mode. And then once we crank it up to its max output, 200 lumens from here, this can run for 3.5 hours according to Barebones. And it's enough light. I wouldn't call it super bright, but it does illuminate a good area. If you needed a lot of light to cook or do anything else, set up camp, you would probably want to supplement this or have this supplement something else. But it is a nice workable level of light. And the light does get under it pretty well too, because the filament tubes, those little LEDs are kind of spaced out to the side enough. It does get light underneath, which is pretty nice. And I wanted to show you something else that's important to know about. This light does have a lot of artifacts. So if that is something you don't like, this is not the lantern for you, because between the bars and the bubble and the glass, you do get a lot of artifacts. But it kind of adds to the character, so it could be a pro or a con depending on who you are. Hopefully you have seen and heard enough to make up your own mind about this lantern and whether or not it'd be a good fit for you. A couple things I wanted to add are just the fact that this lantern's available in a few different styles, I should say. So if there's a color you like, I believe they got a green one, there's a vintage white one, kind of a black one with the bronze like wear points on it. And I think there's one more as well. But yeah, they've got different colorations of this to choose from, which is pretty neat. They offer accessories as far as the cases and the batteries as well for this. But yeah, I mean, you pretty much know everything there is to know about this at this point. One thing before we get into philosophy of use, because it piggybacks into philosophy of use, this lantern does not have a water resistance rating that I could find. In fact, I did find somewhere where it says no, it says not water resistant. So that right there is gonna limit, the use case for this thing. It looks really cool. It does, and that's why I got it. But man, I mean, I do wish it had like at least IPX4 or something. Get a little rain or something like that. It may be able to handle that, but I don't really want to test that. So all in all, with the glass, bulb, really cool on the one hand, looks awesome, but also makes me want to baby it. And then the no water resistance rating, same thing. I mean, so it really just makes this kind of an indoor space or outdoors, so long as you know that there's not a chance of rain or weather. But when you camp, Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does. You can't control that. So, man, it's kind of tough. So as far as the use case for this thing, interior design, 2 thumbs up. I think it's a great piece for like an office or on a desk. You could hang it up somewhere, place it in your house if you've got a little corner that, you have little knickknacks and stuff. It would look really cool on a shelf. Things of that nature. If you're in an enclosed area or a covered area rather, let's say you've got a patio with a table on it that's covered, have some friends out there hanging out, plop this on the table, good to go, looks excellent, sets the mood, really like that warm light once again. And I don't think it would blind too many people even on its max output. And then you could also dim it, of course, but that's where I think this thing fits. Unfortunately, I cannot recommend it for much else. So I'd say glamping, maybe. Camping, I'd say no. And yeah, it's bulky and 2.2 pounds. So definitely not your hiking, backpacking type lantern. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this. I do not regret picking it up, partially because I got a good deal on this one. I got this on eBay, was able to find it selling for $50. I did have to pay shipping on top of that. So I was out the door for about $60. I don't feel too bad about that. But these retail for like, I've seen them $99.99. I've seen them $89.99. Barebones does run sales periodically, so it might be worth waiting for one of those if you do want to pick this up. But yeah, for that, I mean, you just got to know what you're getting into. Really, that's what it comes down to. Because if you expect this thing to be heavy duty, because it's got the metal cage and, yeah, it's going to be, do it all lantern, I think you'll be disappointed if that's your expectation. So I want to throw that out there. But this thing is freaking cool. I like the look of it. I can say that over and over again. It's got that personality, a little bit of old school type steampunk aesthetic. Looks really neat. Hopefully you got a good look at this lantern. Let me know if you have any other questions about it. I'll try to get to those in the comments as usual. If you missed day 1 of Vintage Style Lantern Week, be sure to check that video out. It's about the Barebones Outpost lantern. And coming up in day 3 is possibly the best value Vintage Style lantern on the market. This one's from Everbright. So stay tuned for that video. Thanks again for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.